If you really want to know what movie best resembles the brand new range of Pro SL golf shoes, it's got to be twins. Both share the same DNA, but you've got the original Danny DeVito version over here, and then you've got the hyped up, souped up, beefed up Arnold Schwarzenegger version over here. Tonight is your night, bro. 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 Hi everyone, Kevin here from Golf Guy Reviews, and in today's video we're going to be taking a look at the brand new Pro SL golf shoes. Now we've got the original versions here which currently retail for around £150 in the UK, and then we've got the Pro SL Carbon as well which retail for around £180. So in this video today I'm going to run through and I'm going to let you know what the similarities are between the two as well as the differences as well. And I'm going to let you know whether I think you should actually pay the extra money for the Pro SL Carbon. So stick around to find out. I really hope you enjoyed today's video and make sure you give it a thumbs up if you do. And if you haven't already, make sure you subscribe to my channel so you can keep up to date on all my latest reviews of golf shoes, clothing and tech right here on Golf Guy Reviews. So pretty much for the whole of this video, I'm going to have to hold the shoes like this. Right, so just before we get started, this is going to be a comparison video of these two shoes. If you're looking for individual reviews of the standard Pro SL or the Pro SL Carbon, go check out the other links to my videos there, because I'll be giving more in-depth reviews of the shoes in those videos. But in this one, this is strictly a comparison to let you know where the similarities are, where the differences are, and which one you should buy. So let's start with what's the same across both of the shoes. And starting off, we're going to take a look at the leather upper. So both use the chroma skin leather, which is been used by Footjoy for a number of their shoes now. It's used on the Tour X, it's used on previous Pro SLs as well. It's a very, very popular leather. It's nice and soft. It's got a waterproof guarantee of a year. Made by Pittards, the company there, they specially make it just for these shoes. And it's a very soft and comfortable leather. And it is used on both the same shoes. Sticking with the upper, and the two Pro SLs also share the same power harness technology, so that's this piece of leather across here on the outside, and you've also got that strap across the inside as well, and that's to make sure that you get a good amount of support. Both do a very good job. If I just quickly grab the Carbon here, you can see that that is exactly the same. Same material, same structure, there's no difference there whatsoever. As I say, this isn't a review of the shoes as such, this is just a comparison, so if you want to know how the shoes actually feel and the support they give you, go check out the reviews that I've posted above. As we move through the shoe, another area where the Pro SLs feel exactly the same to me is in the toe box and in the midfoot area. They both feel like they gave me exactly the same fit, which is what you would expect. There's not any significant differences in those areas there. There is a difference for me in the fit in the heel area of the two shoes, but we'll come on to that when I cover off the differences in a bit. Moving on to the foam of the shoe, and both the Footjoy Carbon and the original Pro SLs are sharing the same midsole there. So this is Footjoy's very own finely tuned foam, or FTF, and that's a dual layer of foam, and they're both exactly the same in regards to the midsole. The FTF foam is what they've used in previous versions of the Pro SL, has been very, very popular. It means that it gives you a nice level of comfort while still having quite a good feeling of being connected to the ground. So, you know, it's not the softest of foams out there, it's not the softest midsole. There are softer out there, but it still gives you a nice level of comfort as well as being quite, I would say, low profile and letting you feel connected to the ground. But both are exactly the same in these shoes. So as you can see here, Footjoy are using brand new for this range of Pro SLs, their Infinity outsole. So as you can see, you've got this kind of figure of 8 pattern going around the bottom of the shoe. What they've done is that compared to the previous version of the Pro SL, they've increased the width of the heel by around 11%, and they say that's improved the stability of the shoe and the grip of the shoe by around 30%. For me, I'm going to struggle to really measure 30%. I've got no technology here. I'm just your average golfer and I'm out wearing the shoes on the course, and I'm going to let you know how they feel. Now, wearing both shoes, I wore them out on the course a couple of times. I wore them separately. I wore them together. So I was wearing this one on the right foot and this one on the left. And then after a few holes, I swapped them over as well. And I couldn't tell any difference whatsoever in regards to the grip that these shoes were providing. The sole plate here is exactly the same on both shoes in regarding the grip and the pattern that they're providing, and so both provide a really, really good level of grip. These are pretty much industry leading in regards to the amount of grip they provide for a spikeless shoe, but they are exactly the same. So you'll be getting the same grip from the original Pro SLs as you will from the Carbons. Right, now we get to talk about the really fun stuff, and that's the differences between these two shoes. So some of them are minor, some of them are really quite significant. So let's jump straight in. First of all, I popped them on the scales just to see if there was any significant difference between the two. The standard Pro SLs were coming in at 389 grams, and the Pro SL Carbons were coming in slightly more at 407. So there's a little bit of a difference between the two, but to be honest, not significant enough that you're really going to notice. Sticking with another small difference, and on the standard Pro SLs, you've got pretty bog standard thin looking laces there. You can see nothing special whatsoever going on with them. And with the Carbons, you have these laces that are actually slightly thicker. There's a little bit more kind of resistance to them, a little bit more texture to them. You've got this slight dimpling effect, so you've got a bit more of a color pattern that matches the rest of the shoe. So to be honest, that's a nice little touch. I do much prefer the laces in the Carbon than I do on the standard Pro SLs. And I mentioned colours there, so just to quickly touch upon that, with the Pro SL Carbon, you've got two colourways. You can have it in black or white, those are your options. With the standard Pro SL, you've got a few more colourways. There's not tons to choose from, but you also have it available in boa lacing system as well if you prefer. But now let's get into the really chunky differences. So first of all, we're going to start with a big clue that's in the name of this one. It's the carbon fibre elements. So in the standard Pro SL, you've just got the FTF foam running through it, as you did on previous versions. Whereas you compare that with the Carbon version, and you've got a carbon fibre layer running through the middle of the foam. So if I turn it down there, you can just see that you've got the carbon element there at the front, and you've got the same carbon element at the back. And also on the heel counter as well, you can see here on the Carbon that you've got a carbon fibre heel counter at the rear there, and it goes round and kind of goes through to about the midfoot there. When you compare that to the standard Pro SL, you've just got a material leather external heel counter there. There's a bit more give in it, so you can actually manipulate it and move it, whereas with the carbon fibre one, there's still give in it, but you know, there's less give in it there. And definitely in the inside there, that's definitely much more firmer. You can hear it compared to the softer foam in the middle of the FT. So what difference does the carbon fibre actually make? Well, what Footjoy are saying is that the layer of carbon fibre means that you get better energy return from the shoe. It wants to spring back a lot easier. And again, from the stability of the shoe there, you're getting a more stable shoe in the Carbon. Compare that with the Pro SL, and they're saying it's just got a little bit more softness to it. It's not going to quite give you the same levels of energy return. So in terms of playing out on the course, Footjoy is saying that these are going to give you a bit more of a spring in your step compared to the standard versions. Now, to be honest, I didn't feel too much of a difference when you're just walking about. When you put some extreme movements into the shoe, then actually you can feel it a little bit with the Pro SL Carbon. And I suppose if you're really putting a lot of force through your golf shoe and that's something you're really concerned about, then you've got the technology in these, which is going to give you a little bit better performance compared to the standard. But for the majority of the average golfers out there, me included in that list, I would say that you're not really going to see too much of a difference, I feel. The area that you are going to see a lot more difference in is just the general comfort of the shoe. And that's because the Carbon has got a few more tricks up its sleeve compared to the standard. So first of all, with the Carbon, in terms of comfort, you've got this 3D collar. So this is a 3D printed collar Footjoy have used, and they've used this before on the Tour X, which is very comfortable as well. And that is nice and comfortable. It gives you a real good fit, and it helps keep your foot nice and locked in. If I compare that to the standard Pro SLs, and if I hold it up there, you've got nothing different compared to the Pro SLs of previous years. You've just got a bog standard leather collar there. And the difference between the two for me personally was night and day. The collar here meant that I could put these on out of the box with the Carbons, and I could wear them 18 holes, not a problem at all. Compare that with the standard Pro SLs, and it's the same as previous Pro SLs in that there's a bit of a breaking in period I find with these. Some people can wear them straight out of the box. Me personally, I couldn't. I didn't have any problems with the ankle area, but I do find that the Pro SLs do take a little bit of breaking in over a couple of rounds in the heel area. So that's definitely something to consider if you're thinking of buying the Pro SLs, but it's nothing new. Still on the area of comfort, and the Carbon has also got a Tour spec tongue. Now what that means is, if I just pull that out there a little bit, is that they've used a different material on the inside of the Carbon. You can see it's this kind of textured material, and it's got a little bit of stretch to it as well. So again, that's a nice extra element which is making the Carbon a little bit more comfortable than the standard Pro SL. Not to say that this is uncomfortable in the tongue area. If anything, the tongue actually feels a little bit thicker than previous versions of the Pro SL, and it is nice and comfortable. But you know, if you compare the two next to each other, then the Carbon's tongue is a little bit more comfortable. Where the Carbon is also a lot more comfortable is in the inner sole. In the Carbon, Footjoy are using the Ultralight Impressions fit bed. Now, what that means is that this is a specially designed inner sole, and it is very, very comfortable. So if you had any worries that the firm carbon fiber plate running through the middle would actually make this less comfortable, the fit bed cancels that out. If anything, it makes it more comfortable. In the standard Pro SL, you get a bog standard inner sole compared to the Ultralight version in the Carbon. If I just quickly pull this out here, you can see that it's a nice and thick inner sole. You've got pressure points there where it's thicker in certain areas, and you've also got a non-slip texture on the top of it. If we just compare that to the inner sole in the standard Pro SL, then you know, you've still got a relatively thick inner sole in there, but it's just not got quite the same technology as the Ultralight inner sole, and so the Carbon is ultimately the more comfortable shoe. So in terms of comfort, when you add up the fact that this has got a different tongue, as well as the more comfortable 3D collar, as well as that Ultralight Impressions inner sole, this is a significantly more comfortable shoe than the standard Pro SL. So when it comes to just £30 difference, if you're willing to pay £150 for the brand new Pro SL, I would say spend the extra £30 and get the Carbon, because for me, you're getting a far more comfortable shoe, as well as a slightly more stable shoe. And you know, it's not an insignificant amount of money to spend. If you're spending £150, there's not too much of a difference compared to spending another £30. What's that, 20% more? Quickly doing the maths in my head there. 10% of £150 is 15, so times that by 2, yep, £30. So it's 20% more for the Carbon Pro SL. And as I say, if you're spending that much money, for me personally, these are definitely worth the extra £30. You won't regret it. So where does that leave the standard Pro SL? Now, it's a very, very good spikeless golf shoe. At £150, it's quite an expensive spikeless golf shoe, and it's certainly at the premium end of the market. So if you've got £150 and only £150 and you can't afford to stretch the budget anymore, then the brand new Pro SL standards are a very, very good golf shoe. If you've got £150, but that's really stretching your budget to perhaps a little bit beyond your means, then definitely consider checking out last year's Pro SL. They're currently on sale on the Footjoy website for just £100. So, you know, that's a third less than these. There's a lot of maths going on in this video today. And the 2019 versions are still a very, very good spikeless golf shoe. Yes, these brand new standard versions are going to be more stable because you've got the extra width on the base here, which the 2019 versions don't have. But it still means that the 2019 versions were a very good golf shoe in their own right. So if you've only got £100 and you're wondering whether or not to jump up to the £150 for the standard Pro SLs, I would probably go check out the old Pro SLs at the moment. And then later on in life, once they've sold out all of those, these are probably going to come down in a year or two anyway. But if it's a straight shootout between the Pro SL Carbon and the new Pro SL Standard, I'm taking the Pro SL Carbon all day long. It's the Pro SL Carbon for the win for me. I really hope you enjoyed this video and found it helpful, so hit that like button if you did, and please make sure you subscribe to my channel so you can keep up to date on all my latest reviews of golf shoes, clothing and tech right here on Golf Guy Reviews.